Hello again, ladies and gents, and welcome back to another fantastic episode of Mission Consciousness, the podcast. Today we are with my great friend and soul sister from definitely in the same mister, Nicola Light, Galactic Shaman, spiritual mentor, and, well, all things light. How you doing, my love?
Lovely sight. I'm really, really good. We just had a really wonderful conversation prior to the recording. Lots of information that's been coming forward for us all.
Hmm.
So, yeah, let's have a good old conversation about all of that.
Yeah, definitely. One of obviously one of the main things you do is working with light codes and bringing in light codes and connecting people to their higher states of consciousness. Which
Mm.
I've witnessed for a good couple of years now, and emphatically, in person and online. And obviously, very much a galactic shaman, as well as a spiritual mentor. But is it all right to give the viewers and listeners just a bit of a kind of a download really about what that actually means?
Yeah. It's interesting that the words of a galactic shaman sort of came in out of the blue when it was sort of implanted in my mind as sort of like, well, what's one of them then? I didn't have that understanding of it. So the label or the name of a galactic shaman is it does what it says. So if we look at a shaman, it's somebody that would assist somebody through a journey and they help them release negative energy through their field. So a shamanic sort of practice or a labeled understanding of a shaman would be somebody that also would transmute negative energy through their
Mm,
field. Okay, so a medicine person could be another name or a label that somebody would use. And when we look at the galactic essence of the galactic shaman, it's working with consciousness that would be more galactic. So assisting multi-dimensional aspect integration is where I help people really embody their total selves in, so their multi-dimensionality. So if we look at ancestral stuff, all that clearing maybe would be done through plant medicine, etc., and all of that beautiful practices. But galactic stuff comes more from a code, and with those codes that come through, I can align with somebody and then assist them into releasing anything that prevents that multidimensionality to come through,
hmm.
which sometimes happens because sometimes in time space there might be something that we need to heal from another planet.
Yeah.
Um, so when we heal that part of ourselves, then we can then basically allow that to come in, so that we can embody more of our consciousness.
Yeah.
I hope
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's just to kind of elaborate on that then, because um well, I guess in the last couple of months, like the feelings and experiences people are having, like within the body, within the mind, within dream state, has risen excessively. I've been quite vocal about it within myself, and I always try to, because then it just helps people connect to the fact that, wow, there's other people like experiencing similar things to me, and I've always shared my vulnerabilities and stuff like that as part of my own practice and my own teachings and sharing wisdom, etc.
Mm.
And it's been vitally important, especially like reconnecting the guys to these kind of experiences as well. So they're like, well, it's not just me. It's like this dude, ex-soldier, tattoos, says how it is doing the exact same thing.
Mm.
And this is really ramped up, and not just within our community who actively practice meditation and stuff like that, but just people from all over. I'm getting contacted daily by people saying like, I don't know what this means. Um, so can you just kind of elaborate on kind of like what people are experiencing, and why, especially
Mm.
in the last couple of months, because the level of consciousness worldwide has risen, astronomically.
Mm. 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 So if we look at it from sort of two different perspectives, from the lower self or ego mind, we think of ourselves in our reality purely as mind and our body. So most people that what we could perceive to be offline would just look from service to self. They're not about sort of stepping up and coming together in community. They are just literally like, well, what's in it for me?
Mm,
So there are many, many sort of human beingnesses that are on the earth that are running that program through them. And as we rise in vibration, we start to break down the system, the energetic field, and the heart starts to pulse a little bit more, which then aligns us, whether consciously or subconsciously, to the connection to our higher mind and then into our heart. So we get that heart coherence start to come on. As we do, then from an ego perspective, we start to see things slightly differently because it is different to that reality of just seeing things through our five senses.
Mm.
And so then what we do then is start to tap into different realms and realities, different dimensions. And then we then got to adjust the energy that is running through us so that we can then start to remember and to ignite how to play the game at that level of consciousness.
Yeah.
So we're releasing stuff because it's naturally happening to us anyway, and the body's responding to that. And then we start to break free into different realms and realities, and then we're like, what's that? What's that then? How do I know this? Why does that light look strange around the tree? Why is it that I want to do this? Why does it want to do that? We're starting to remember.
Hmm.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's not learning anything different. We know exactly what to do, but we just forgot. We got into the mind, into the body, and all of the programming, all the belief systems got us to that space of who am I, service to self, is egoic mind structure. So the more that we can open up that space, which is what we speak about, with the breath, with the beautiful practices, with the connection in meditation, all of it, all of these practices will help us release all that we are not, the illusion of self, into opening up that heart space so we can hold more light.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening. So there's an interaction with the physical body, with the ascension symptoms of the physical body, the emotional body's going off left, right, and center. Mind control comes in into our belief system. Different realities are starting to blend and bleed through with dream state from lower fourth entity connection.
Hmm.
And it's all going on in this perception of reality of who am I?
Mm.
So no wonder people are starting to go like, what the is going on?
Mm.
Is because it's starting to all crumble around us of the reality is an illusion when the original template of the Earth system is rising up through the illusion.
Yeah.
It's so profound. It's so exciting for humanity, but we must do our inner work so that we can start to connect to it more consciously.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
and I guess it's for people to actually sort of make sense, not
Yeah.
because there's so much confusion at the minute around a lot of people about what's going on, that they don't know where to look as well.
Mm.
There's still a lot of fear-based propaganda like banded around across a lot of social media, around a lot of influencers who have got a lot of work to do themselves,
Mm.
so they're just very much staying in that like static kind of like level, and then they're not allowing the bleed through to come through and releasing those old ego patterns. So it's just like
Mm-mm.
very repetitive. I'm seeing a lot of it on, especially channels like X and stuff like that.
Mm.
And it keeps people in this box of like fear-based illusion in that illusionary field still.
Mm.
So it's, people just need to kind of step away from that, see things with a wider lens, whilst embodying these energies that are going through them,
Yeah.
and get a deeper understanding because, we're not just this mind and body, as you
Yeah.
said. There's so much, many more parts to self, at a cellular level, which
Mm.
hold all this amazing data and information that's starting to become unlocked within our body, our mind, and making that deeper connection to our soul,
Yeah.
and why we came here in the first place, which, firstly, as light workers, as we call them, which we talk about, walking the lands, being that conduit of amazing light. But to become that greater conduit of light, we need to release all those old patterns, all those old toxins,
Mhm.
all those, all that old negativity that sits in our emotional fields and energetic fields, which can take over people's mind perception for, the first part of this journey. I found, because of the confusion. But like you're saying, if we endorse and embody these practices, the meditation, the breath work, many people are being called to plant medicines to make that connection because they just know it's like what they need to do in their next step of
Mm-mm.
evolution.
Yeah.
This is how we're seeing this like rapid rise in humanity, and
Yeah.
this is why podcasts like this are so important to get this kind of message out and break down these elements, so people can move forward in a
Yeah.
much more positive way. And you did you touched on it there about like stepping up the practices. There's never been a greater time in your own history to actually start doing this inner work, and it's just breaking past the ego,
Yeah.
to understand it's not woo woo. I always joked, as former soldier, said, always say like you wouldn't catch soldiers sitting there meditating. You're too busy in the bar, um, or following orders. Um, so, like, I mean, from your perspective and what you teach, like, how can somebody now, like, who's feeling these experiences, maybe has got this kind of confusion, where would you say people should start to really start
Mm.
embodying
Yeah.
everything that's coming through at this rapid rate?
Yeah. So first of all, let's just sort of see that everything we speak about has different layers of understanding within it. So
Yeah.
there are stepping stones of the evolution of the soul's journey
Mm,
within all of these practices that we speak about. We could do breath, we could do meditation, but there's a depth of it that will take you to another level. So it's all the same thing, but it's a depth that we can then go into deeper into ourselves. So all of
mm,
these tools are real basic. To start off with, when I started, it was a very organic journey for myself. It was sort of self-activation, the deep dark night of the soul, the confusion, searching outside of myself for input. I needed a point of reference for what I was aligning to, that inner truth, that wisdom of light to come online.
mm,
So all that said is that the most perfect thing is to come into the now moment. Now, whether that now moment is through meditation, walking in nature, knitting, whatever it is, you must come into the now moment. And when you're in that now moment, you can engage your breath so that then you're breathing in a deepening of your breath into your heart, where the heart then starts to activate.
mm,
So the key thing is the alignment to your center. Centering meanings not past, not future, but now. That's center.
mm,
You're absolutely in the now moment, centered. You can see things as they hit your reality in the now moment, rather than worrying too much what happened in the past and being hooked into that reality, and too much in the future with potentialities, possibilities, timeline shifts, and all of that stuff that goes on in that direction. The only thing that we can know to be absolutely sure is what's happening in our now.
mm,
And from our mind perspective, it gets less confused and fragmented if we bring it all into this space. So we're in here, but every single moment of that time, you will hold a truth within it. But that truth starts to go up in different levels of conscious connection. So your truth, when you're completely in your mind and your body, will be your truth that you think that all of us that are doing this in this reality of truth are complete nutters.
mm, yeah.
Okay. But the unfoldment of the truth as you hold higher levels of consciousness, which is vibration and light within ourselves, then our practice deepens into, still again in our now moment, but it enables us to see other people that are at different levels of consciousness, and we honor them for where they are at. So if they're in conspiracy, deepening into all of that stuff, love them for it. If they're into this stage of evolution, love them for it. It may not be your truth that you're holding, but these are stepping stones of evolution for people to get onto, so that they then can actually be held in those beautiful spaces,
Mm,
so that they can evolve to the next level. So like yourself, AJ, we align ourselves, and I see it within you that your evolution is stepping up the more and more you experience,
Mm,
and your codes coming in, and
mm,
your awareness coming in, the divine union coming in.
mm.
All of this is starting to shift your reality and truth within inside of yourself. But just because somebody's doing something here or here, does that make them any less or better than you? It does not.
No, no, absolutely
It's
not.
just that they're on their journey as they go.
Mm,
So the answer completely is meditation and breath.
yeah,
That is absolutely amazing. And body movement. We
yeah,
must move our bodies
yeah.
so that we can release that energy through us.
Yeah, definitely. And I was even talking to somebody the other day, like from a male perspective, because I always find that the male ego tends to shy away from sitting in meditation, being in that now moment and stuff like that. And I find males tend to like look into the future at potential scenarios of things that haven't happened, and then becomes a fear, a lot
Yeah.
more than the females do. Again, that's just my perspective and experience, but.
Mm.
Um, Simple things like getting your feet in the ground and mowing your lawn.
Yeah.
I know how much men love, like to keep, especially this time of year, to keep their grass nice and green and tidy and stuff like that. But the minute you're connected to the land and you held onto that lawnmower, it's just like how people find ironing or mopping the floor or sweeping like quite therapeutic, or
Yeah.
painting.
Mm.
Mowing the lawn's got the same thing. And what are you doing? You're connecting to a vibration, and
Yeah.
you're in nature, and it's
Yeah.
like it's actually a really therapeutic thing that can actually put you in that now moment. And
Mm.
um, in this new place that we live in now, I find that I've got like 10 times as much grass to cut. So I've actually put this to the test, and it genuinely works.
It's so important. It's to get in that now moment and the doing of being human.
Mm,
All of this sort of high vibrational work, and I'm speaking from my own template, meaning my own blueprint, my own experience, is that I can fly high as a kite. That's part of my who I am. I can reach up to the galactic formation and bring in information, channel left, right, and center. It feels glorious. It feels back to who I am,
mm,
holding that light energy within me. I'm like, oh my God, it's so amazing. But how does that interpret into our everyday lives, which is so important of, mowing the grass, going shopping, picking the kids up from school, washing, ironing, and all of that stuff, preparing
mm,
dinner.
yeah.
How can we sort of like use all of these practices to hold the energy and observe everything going on around us? So, and I speak about this in my channel a lot, is to see who we are not. If we get triggered, meaning if there's somebody that invokes an emotional response, it's not to point the finger outside of yourself, it's to say, actually, it's a reflection of me, that I am creating that experience because you're shining that distortion that I hold within inside of myself.
Mm,
So, as well as the practice of meditation and breath work and that body movement, is to actually take ownership,
yeah.
to really deepen into my perception of my realities, my truth. But is there an illusion overlay that is preventing me to see somebody else's light?
Mm,
And so this sort of this evolution of that we work through is the same but different as we rise
yeah.
in our understanding of it.
Yeah.
I hope that
Definitely.
makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Not too woo
No,
woo.
absolutely. And I wanted to speak about like overlays in the illusionary field, because we've had many conversations in the past, and podcasts and stuff like that. Is it right to kind of elaborate on what the illusionary field actually means to somebody who's just tuning in and doesn't understand what that concept is?
Yeah. That. I've got some codes coming in, so let me just sort of bring those in, because what codes do is they assist me in my remembrance so that I can answer it to a higher degree of understanding. Da gyana macchiata. Mono macchiato tu macchiato vacush macchiata. And so I'm getting a bit of a download. It might look a bit weird and crazy, and my ego's starting to kick in. I was like, why is this happening? But there's obviously some information that needs to come through.
It's normal, guys.
So if we see reality to be like a soup, okay, the reality of soup is that everything which is in that pot is all ingredients of different levels of consciousness that sits within it.
Hmm.
but we've got to pack out and see the clarity of the pure water that sits within the soup. Bear with me where this is going, okay? Because I've gone a bit switched off now and gone a bit to go like, where's this going, Nicola? Where's it going? Lalagyan to batsimakiatan. So the illusion of everything that you add to the mix, which is the pure water in the pot, you have to look at to see the ingredients that's within it. But all that data, all of those vegetables, all the stock cubes, all of the salt and pepper and the mixing up of that pot of soup is added by other people. And that added of other people is all about the suppression of the gut. I don't know why this is going this way, but bear with me. So, what we've got to do is siphon out the pure consciousness of who we are, which is the pure light of all that we are. But in the mixing pot of this matrix system, there's been so much potatoes, carrots, peas, all been added into a pot of our illusion, of our reality, of the I am Nicola, that I was a mother, that I was this is my schooling, this is the media, this is other people's perception of reality, or all the peas and the carrots and the potatoes, all in my pot of my reality. The illusion is what everybody else has put into your soup. The illusion is from different levels of consciousness that wants to keep you in the soup,
Mm.
in the pot of the illusion. And it's anchored in and it's coated all over the earth. Underneath the pot is a beautiful fire, okay? And that fire is Gaia. And Gaia will turn up her heat to burn off and to move and transmute the negative illusionary field out so that we then rise up with the steam. And the steam is then a transmutation of water within the pot. So what we're doing is, if we look at that as an analogy and simplify it, please, because I'm getting like, room, is that what we're doing is we're filtering through ourselves this sense of self, is that all that I am not the potato, I am not the mix of all that you put in there of me. I am remembering that I am pure water,
Mm.
the basis of all that I am, but I'm not the running water. I am the steam. I am the higher levels of conscious vibration of water that is a different shift of who I am. I'm not the running waters. I'm not the ice. I am the air. I am that presence of beautiful light consciousness
Yeah.
that is beyond this matrix system, beyond the pot.
Mm.
And so the illusionary field is basically um, an implant of data that is held of a negative charge that sits within the system that keeps us suppressed into the body and mind.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as we switch up and open up our energetic field, we see who we are and hold the light inside of ourselves that then breaks down the illusion. We start to see beyond the veil, start seeing beyond the complexities of programming and belief systems. So the illusion is what it says. It's an illusion. But we've got to see the truth within the reality from a high perspective, which is the analogy of the
Yeah.
steam rising out of the pot.
Yeah.
That was a really complex answer to
Well,
you, but
no, it's a couple of things. Firstly, thank you for using the soup analogy and the and I thank where the information came from because
yeah.
you know how soup is my favorite food. Um,
Oh, is
so
it? Oh,
yeah,
there you go. That was for you, AJ.
I eat soup and I make it all the time here. You know, there's no
Mhm.
coincidences. But in terms of illusionary field, right? We talk about raw ingredients here. So if
Yeah,
you were looking at healthy raw ingredients in a soup like I make here, we have our retreat days and that kind of stuff. It's all organic food,
yeah,
and it's like it's positive information in your field, right? I like to put it as, but like when
yeah.
when you want to distort that soup, you do, which is then putting distortion into your field, and which causes suppression within the gut. You start adding ingredients like rapeseed oil and
Yes.
palm oils and all these things that the supermarket
Yeah.
soups put in there, put the supermarket big food put in their soups. So you only have to go to Tesco, actually look at their home brand soups, and you will see that they've all got rapeseed oil in that. When would you ever use that in your own soups at home? You wouldn't. So
Mm,
that ingredient alone, that rape seed is like
mm.
is seeding your illusionary field with suppression to the gut.
Yeah.
Um, because that's where it sits. So yeah, that analogy is absolutely quite beautiful. So if you then take that and put that as what you're saying is in our illusionary field, the, the illusionary field we experience in the matrix is all the suppressive things that keep you in that, that box of information, that 3D box around your head, which is
Yeah.
controlled by media, by law, by government, by sport, by the healthcare systems, the education systems, and
Yeah.
I use the analogy of this box around your head quite a lot, as in each corner has got something that keeps you encapsulated in there,
Yeah.
but they all work in unison to keep you in that box of information. And that's why, the term think outside the box is so important.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you
Yeah.
think outside the box, you are then thinking outside and observing the illusionary field from the outside. And,
Beautiful.
you
Do you
know,
know what? That was really lovely co-created, that
yes.
analogy, because I brought it in like that, and then you saw things, and this is what is really, really important for us when we come together, is that I've got an analogy that I'm going to bring forward, but then AJ comes in with a seeing a different perspective on it
Mm,
that then shines the light upon the analogy.
yeah.
So when we come together, we've got all different viewpoints on this. And every time it's going to be different.
Mm,
And so whatever we are sort of bringing forward for you, be empowered with your journey in seeing your own illusion, seeing your own truth. And are you going to put in those beautiful, organic, natural ingredients? Or are you going to just go to the shop and just buy it just because it's convenient and very comfortable and just pop it in the pot and then just, you
microwave
know,
it.
microwave it?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like we have choices. We still can have soup,
Mm,
but do we choose this soup or do we choose this soup?
yeah.
And that's the difference. There's the illusionary, and this is the pure, organic, beautiful broth
Mm,
soup that
yeah.
comes in. And when we was in Portugal on your retreat, which was so beautiful, the food there, if anyone's sort of questioning whether to go or not, go. It's so transformational. And
Just for
the
the food.
food, the vibration, that
Mm,
pot of the food that they present is like just beyond. So again, vibration, truth and awareness.
yeah.
So it's all very beautiful.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think from what I'm seeing at the moment, just within our amazing community, the rise in people, the conversations that people are having,
Mm.
even within my family, I'm seeing a massive shift within pretty much everybody. And again, it all comes down to these just perspectives and the kind of level you're at in your evolution. I've got members of my family who are like literally seeing through everything now. Like I actually sit and just listen at them going like, there's just nothing but shit in the food. There's spray in the skies. There's fluoride in the water. The government are corrupt. The healthcare just want to like poke you and pill you and all the rest of it. Blah, 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 they're going through that phase, and then
Yes.
other members of the family are like just one step at a time, starting to question all these kind of things.
Mm.
Um, but I think it all comes down to like what I find is that there's people in if you're no matter what level you're at, there's probably people in your family who are really shining the light on people. It could be you. You could be that
Yeah.
person. So don't think that you're the black sheep. You're just a way shower that like is here for that reason
Yeah.
to like embody all that light, and it's based off the experiences you've been through. So a lot of us who are that like quote unquote way showers and stuff have been through all the traumatic experiences, witnessed the best and worst in humanity with our own eyes. I witnessed the false flags, had multiple addictions, multiple ego problems, like but we could have been extremely materialistic. All these kind of things, right? Yeah, you know what I mean. But we can all put our hands up to all that kind of stuff. Like I used to love having a watch and just like all these kind of things. But at the end of the day, like we've gone through these journeys to shine light on those around us that they can do it too. You know, it's not,
Yeah,
and it's a case of showing people. It's not telling them.
yeah,
Again, that's lessons that we've had to go through as well ourselves. We've had multiple conversations about this.
mm,
It's it's a case of showing people what you can do, showing people the power of the mind, the body, and then the connection to the soul,
mm,
and what we're all about. And I think that by doing that, that's what helps elevate. And like you said in your picture behind you, the only way is up.
mm,
It literally is, you know,
yeah,
and it's an ever evolving step. It's an ever evolving climb
yeah,
to you know to your own heaven on earth. You know, heaven isn't a place; it's a place that's created in the mind.
yeah,
But you can also create your own hell. So it's like, what state, you know, what realm do you want to live in your reality? And
yeah,
I think that it's really important that people start to understand that now is that you've got all the abundance is all there. It's just been behind these illusionary fields that have been placed in front of you that have constricted you, restricted you, kept you pulled in, kept you in fear, you know, kept you in anger, pain, and shame and guilt, and all these low vibrational emotions that we feel in all, you know, in our emotional bodies and
mm,
energetic bodies. But now, like, we need to let that go. We need to like brush those low level vibrational emotions away from our field, because
yeah,
once we do, it's positively charged. And what you
yeah,
do when you're positively charged, you bring in positively charged emotions. You bring the abundance in. It comes to you. This is how it
yeah,
works. You
yeah.
attract it.
Exactly, exactly. And it's creating that space within you.
Mm,
I work very much with sort of like within my mind that sort of metaphysical understanding of energy and the awareness of yes, we everything is energy regardless of whether it's got a physical form or whether it's flow state. So we have structure, and then we have all this flow state, which is again still consciousness, but it either shows up as form or within flow. But it's that vibration that we hold within that sparks within us and amplifies through holding more energy into our heart space.
mm,
That, as you just said, just to re-say it in a different way, is to attract everything that aligns that you can create from that vibration rather than from the energy of fear within, that you attract the synchronicities to show you who you're not,
mm,
because the universe wants to try to align us to our true essence of ourself, which is, after all, the ascension,
mm,
which is the only ways up.
yeah.
Ascension is ascending,
Mm,
descension, ascending. We are waking up, awakening to our ascension. So that needs to be coming in with that full force of energy that is holding a higher vibration. So we're clearing out all of that illusion, all of that mind control, all of that emotional state, all of the baggage with our DNA structure held within the physical body of our ancestral stuff in our junk in our trunk. It's like it's clearing out to bring in the new. It's like
mm,
when you moved house, you had to sort of clear out, well, what is it that I want? What is it I don't want? You know, it's the movement into releasing everything.
mm,
I got to a point where I'd sort of moved out from my old life, where I put my hand up saying I was very materialistic, is that I let go of everything. And I know you did too,
yeah.
AJ, but you just let go of everything. And I could literally put everything in my car. And that old illusion of who I was, it was in my past, and you can really heal through the journey of it, but to honor where you was at within that truth at that time, is that it's perfect that now you're aligning to the new you, to the rebirth of you, of the pure essence of who you are. So if you were in the military and the old you was there, it's honoring every single step of your journey is so important, because that was where you was at, there was your truth. But as you start to open up into the next phase, then use these beautiful gifts and talents that AJ has is presenting, so that you can then align into more deepening, and through the experience you start to then see a little clearer
Mm,
into the illusion to see
yeah.
what it's not. And then you move deeper in again, and then you start like, hang on a minute, that's really weird. I feel like somebody's standing to the side of me. Whoa, that's really weird. I saw a light over there. What's that? Oh my God, this is happening here. Oh my God, I'm going a little bit deeper down into the rabbit hole. And then people may even start coding, won't they, AJ?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you're
Yeah.
like, what's this all about then? So
Yeah.
it's beautiful. It's beautiful how it all unfolds. It's so beautiful. I'm exciting.
Yeah,
See
and
how
you mentioned about
passionate
the
I am.
yeah, you mentioned yeah, exactly. You mentioned about like the coding and stuff like that, and coding is just one of many things that we're seeing across, like, especially people in the community and things like that. And obviously, you've been to a lot of our events and seeing people's light language being activated. We're getting activations at every single one of our events, hence why we've called it live activation event. We can't really call it anything else. Uh, everything from like you met Leslie in Portugal, that came out as just an amazing angelic voice that comes out, starts singing like yourself. But a lot of the guys are having like really big heart activations, I found, and there's a lot of guys whose hearts are growing and growing and growing and growing. So when they come into our events, they're like really holding the space, like within the collective energetic field of everybody.
Mm,
you know
beautiful.
Whereas like a lot of the ladies have like a lot of the energy comes through them, and like you teach um and help people bring online and embody a lot of that light language and a lot of that energy that comes through them, because we see it every time. Then it could be a bit scary for people because they're like, oh, this is new to me, like what's going on, my hands, I can't control them. And you work with people every most days, like, to help them really bring that through. And
Yeah,
it's been great for us to actually create these activations in people, well, jointly, because it's the person themselves. It's not, we're just providing the tools for them
yeah,
to activate in the first place, because they've already decided that they're coming there to be activated. It's not us healing them, it's not us activating them, it's just giving them the tools they need, whether it's plant medicines or whether it's working with any, or helping them release certain energies from the body that they might
mm,
that hold them back. It creates a self-sabotage. That could be ancestral, it could be like all kinds of different things, totally varied all the time.
yeah,
But the important thing to remember is that, like, whether it's what you do or what we do, we're just always providing the tools and holding the space so that person can have the experience those activations and like take their whole dynamic really and the whole evolution to the next level, and move on from there.
yeah, absolutely. And it's what resonates with you. There's no one way
Mm.
for everybody.
Yeah.
I did a podcast with Farah Weir previously in the morning, and we were sort of speaking about this, is that, we hold this beautiful way of working, but it doesn't mean to say it's going to fit every way.
Mm.
So it may be that you're drawn to this or this. There's no judgment within it. You're just moving through this to this. You might touch on this and then really focus on this. But the main thing within the mix of it is that we're all rising, is that
Mm.
we're all opening up that heart space. That's
Yeah.
the most important thing, is that we are empowered. And I love the way that you work with that, AJ, is that you give people the tools to assist them. You're very heart opened into, really sort of empowering people through your action and seeding within them for them to receive the information, for them
Yeah.
to self-activate, for those that are on their journey to not see anybody as a guru or somebody that's better than them. No, we've all been there, done that, and still are working through our shadow.
Yeah.
There's this weekend just passed. I mean, I was like, "Ugh," all over the place, but it made space, and the emotions are sort of only a short amount of time rather than going on for months of feeling "Ugh." Um, and so the more inner work that you do, the more that you will find yourself in that beautiful centered space of non-judgment, of
Mm.
complete awareness around you, and it feels so much better. You get into that peace and joy rather than all those lower emotional states, and it's so wonderful to be more in that space than not, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just wanted to touch on something because I haven't actually really talked about on a podcast. Is
Mm.
we talked about creating space and stuff like that for your own
Yeah.
evolution.
Mhm.
Like, you know, in the subtlest of ways, um, potentially ending long relationships like is part of that journey for some people. Now I'm getting a lot of people at the minute like, that are messaging both of us and saying that they just feel like suddenly boom they're not aligned with their current partner, whether that would be husband, wife, fiance, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it may be.
Mm.
And that and it's easy for people to keep labeling them as karmic relationships, but that doesn't really sit with me and never has done. I don't like to give it a label
Mm.
because to me, then karmic relationship isn't really honoring, that relationship you have with a person. I think it's a bit like, to me, it's a bit chip shop and an easy way out of just saying, wow, it's just a karmic relationship. Like, they taught me the lessons I need to know, and yeah, nice one, I'm off. It doesn't really honor that person because you've actually given that person, the person you've been with all this time, so many lessons as well. You know,
Yeah.
that could be of like how to unconditionally love somebody. That could be, it could be a whole heap of things. So
Mm.
it's not just a one-way street where that person's been there for you all the time. And I'm speaking from experience now, having been married for 20 years before.
Mm.
And Sam, my ex-wife, and she's the
Yeah,
most
it's
amazing
beautiful.
soul and huge
Mm.
heart. And
Yes.
and she and she's had loads of activations, and she's just an amazing person, and so proud to have her as a mother of my children.
Mm.
And I've always expressed that I can't thank her enough for the pure unconditional love, the lessons, everything that she done for me, as well as my children. So I don't like to use the term karmic relationship, but like for the people who are like at this precipice at the minute, they're just like their soul knows that they're not supposed to be where they are right now.
Mm.
Like, what's your kind of advice for them? Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of people in this space at the minute.
Oh, it's massive. It's absolutely massive. Yeah, I'm very long-term relationship like yourself. I had 32 years of marriage when I decided that it wasn't sort of resonating, and a long time before when I actually did sort of move out. But it's the evolution of where you're at, which will then determine how it's then impacted.
Mm,
The movement of it all is the movement, if we look at things from a high perspective, is conscious uncoupling. In the future, it will be conscious uncoupling with I see you, we are not resonating at the same timeline trajectory. If we look at it, all this sort of speak of like, the evolution of us working together is coming to an end. Therefore, the evolution needs to invite somebody else into my life. Therefore, we need to consciously uncouple.
mm,
Lovely. That situation is very rare in the vibration of consciousness that we sit within. You can then honor that person when you're looking at the uncoupling consciously from your perspective, that you can say, do you know what, actually, I love you. Thank you for all the gifts and talents that you brought in for me. Thank you for all the wonderful lessons and the experiences, and I thank you for all of that. If somebody's not holding that same sort of level of consciousness to you, then that decoupling is going to be very, very difficult for them to um, move through.
mm,
So if you've got somebody that is a divine pure essence that's on their ascension journey also, but you're doing this, then you can have this sort of a smoother run of the decoupling. If you've got this that's sort of like trying to pull you back type energy, and this person's not going through their evolutionary steps, they want to stay in the experience of mind and body, which is a beautiful experience in itself of being human, but they just want to be there really holding their anger and sadness, and what does that feel like at a soul level of understanding. But if you're peeling away from somebody like that, that transition will be more difficult for
mm,
you. But the main focus we must stay in is ourselves. It's
mm,
service to self, but from a high perspective of being compassionate for yourself. It's not service to self as in I will I will stay with this because actually you provide me with all of my content that I want, and all my money comes in through you, so service to self, I stay with you because of this.
Mm.
It's really becoming into stepping into honoring and balancing your masculine and feminine energy within you, that you can peel away from those types of relationships.
Yeah.
So as I said, there are three different ways. There's either conscious uncoupling, which everybody is happy with the process. You move on as friendships, still connected, but not together. And then you're either sort of moving up and peeling away, where there's this separation that comes in, but there's a little bit of stickiness within it, or there's this peeling away because they are really sort of hooked into your system. That is a little bit more what you could perceive or label to be a karmic relationship because of the incarnational looping system, which is another subject in itself. But if you find yourself in a position where I am lighting up so much, but this person is no way going to shift, which is my level number 3. No way going to open up to the understanding of the galactics. No way understanding the chemtrails. They're not understanding this, or this, or this, or this, or this. Then what is it that you want to do? You want to evolve. So naturally, you'll just peel away. It's not going to be easy.
Mm.
I know, and I understand that. But if there's this that goes on, sometimes what happens with these relationships as you peel away is sometimes it comes back together again, where you can heal through the journey of the separation.
Mm. Yeah.
So there's those 3 sort of stages that sort of sit
Mm.
there, but your decision absolutely has to be about you,
Yeah.
because you cannot stay because of the kids. You cannot stay because they give you money. You cannot stay because they give you sex. They cannot stay because of this or that or this or that. You've got to do it for your soul's evolution, but you've got to do it when the divine timing is right for you. And
Mm-hmm.
you will know when that divine timing is right, or else you're going to plummet down into a bit of a system because your ego's kicking in, because I am a spiritual being and I need to rise from it. We need to be compassionate of heart for ourselves and empathic for our partners to then gently unfold. Or there will be lessons learnt, and I know that one.
Yeah.
I know that one.
And I guess it comes down to we've all got at some stage this beating drum that like really hammers within us,
Yeah.
and you start off with feeling it and hearing it as quite a low level noise, and it starts getting you asking questions about yourself, about
Hmm.
this journey. Am I in the right place? Should I be here? Something doesn't feel right. Something's missing. And then
Yeah.
that drum just gets louder and louder and louder,
Yes.
like it does with every single universal experience. Like the universe will keep slapping you in the face pretty much until you start listening to that drum. You know,
Yeah.
where that drum's leading you to is all part of that evolution as well. Not necessarily a specific place, but like it's where it's actually leading to you to.
Yeah.
So it's connecting to the sound of that beating drum, sitting
Yeah.
with it, and like you said, it's all about divine timing. Otherwise, you're just going to be kept in a repetitive loop, repetitive cycle, because you're not actually showing yourself like that bit of self love that's needed to honor yourself. That
Mm.
it's part of your soul's evolution and your soul's journey. That whatever relationship you potentially are in right now is and has to come to an end as part of your soul's evolution of why you're here, because you're not going to complete or be on your mission if you keep yourself in these, I know they call them karmic loops, but like
Mm.
just in a repetitive cycles, so
Yeah.
unfortunately you have to break the cycle. Sometimes that does involve hurting other people, because that's how what we feel these emotions in this human experience, in the mind and body. And even at a deeper soul level, your soul will feel that pain as well, because there's,
Yeah.
if you've got a big heart, there's nothing but love there. And
Yeah.
it can often be extremely daunting. Obviously, I speak from experience, and there can be a lot of heartache, and it
Yeah.
could be an ongoing thing. And part of your actual evolution very much can be to experience that heartache, that guilt, that shame, and this, that, and the other, because for you to feel that at an energetic level and to understand what unconditional truth is, as
Yeah.
well as unconditional love, because you might not have had those lessons previously to the
Mm.
extent in which you need them to carry them forward as part of your soul's journey.
Yeah.
in what you do and what your soul mission is here.
Yeah.
Um, uh,
Beautiful.
so you know that's how I've kind of really experienced it myself.
Mm,
And I talk to a lot of people about it at the moment. So I thought it was a good opportunity to talk about that subject because there's a lot of people, especially in um, this level of consciousness we're in right now, this this warp speed that we're going into in human evolution to the higher states of consciousness and higher dimensions as
mm,
well, because you know we're not staying here in this third dimension. You know, we're rising, and that's why so many people are experiencing negative experiences, spiritual attacks, like all these kind of things, because the dark agenda that is part of these systems that engulf the whole planet and have kept us enslaved in this
mm.
planet, inside this illusionary matrix, are trying everything they can at every level to individuals and the collectives to
Yeah.
keep us suppressed down. And
Yeah.
they operate in the lower four, so in dream state or just above that, like, and so they put things into your different fields, you know, to distort you, to throw you off track, and that will involve relationships, that will involve things in dream state, that will involve fear-based propaganda at
Yeah.
every kind of angle that you can think of to stop you or stop us rising into that fifth dimensional frequency where the answers are, where our original template is, where our soul's journey is, where our soul's mission is, all the, you know, your akashic record, like all these kind of things about us. It,
Mm.
it's to stop us from getting to there.
Yeah.
Um, so I
Sort of
find that,
like we
yeah,
spoke about that, didn't we? Like capping us.
yes,
They allow us to rise to this, but then they cap us to
mm,
this. But we must look through that. We must look through it.
mm-hmm,
But the way is always through love, and it's
mm,
self-love.
yep,
It's self-love in your own relationship of yourself.
mm,
If you love yourself so deeply, you will set yourself free and you will set the other person free to evolve in their way as well.
yeah,
So it's all about the heart yet again. So if you are in that space and you really don't want to take that next step, do your inner work, love yourself even more deeply so that you can really bring in that balance between your masculine and feminine energy within inside of yourself. So that then when you do step out of that connection with somebody. It doesn't matter if it's a union or whether it's a relationship or whether it's a job, whatever it is that's been presented through that experience, is that when you see it's not serving you any longer,
mm,
then you make those decisions and then you take the action into shifting you into creating that space of letting go of the job, the connections with the physical, whatever it is, like a pair of shoes. Because you create space, you literally clear it.
mm-hmm,
You clear it, and when you clear it, then there is the beautiful replacement. Everything comes in that will upgrade you into the next step
yep,
of the experience of being human here.
mm.
So it's beautifully divinely orchestrated. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
absolutely. And what people need to remember as well, whether it's like letting go of a career or relationship or a pair of shoes, like any of that kind of stuff, all the material items, it's stepping outside of the fear that comes with it because of the illusionary field that's, you know, we've been conditioned to our whole lives. So
Yeah,
people, I'll take people's, you know, careers for example. They're like, well, most people across Europe, you know, Western society have been pushed so far to the breadline, you know, because of all these systems on purpose, because they know it'll keep you in fear. And if you try to break free, the biggest factor is how am I going to pay my bills? How am
yeah,
I going to put clothes on my back? How am I going to put food on the table for the kids? Right? When you actually make the universal changes, you're clearing the space for the abundance to actually come in. It doesn't just like put you on your ass and it's going to leave you there. The universal changes, that beating drum is sounding for a reason because you're no longer doing what serves you. So, like I mentioned
yeah,
before, you just stay on those repetitive cycles until you make those changes. And only you will know that. Only you can feel that. Only you can embody that. And it's not for us to say to people like, "Yeah, I think you need to quit your job." It's that ownership. It's, you know, the ownership of like, I just can't be here anymore.
yeah. It's
I
time.
I need
Yeah,
to go. I
it's
need to
time.
feel into where I need to go because as
Mm,
part of this human experience, actually feeling it in the body is one of the biggest things that we can do. It's why we have this vessel in the first place, this
Mm.
amazing quantum computer that our soul lives in.
The thing that would be really helpful, which is I always sort of teach when I sort of talk about this, is that if you're in any doubt whatsoever, do nothing, right? Do nothing,
Mm,
because it gives you time to really evaluate and to sort of analyze and sort of really sort of contemplate on the decision making from it. So do nothing if you're in doubt.
mm,
But the key thing is, from my mind of understanding from my experience, is that I then see reality in duality. So if I'm centered and I go like, I'm doing nothing, okay? If you look at this and you say, do you know what, that no longer resonates. This does not resonate with me. Now, the universe always wants to give us exactly what we want,
mm,
what is going to serve us best for the soul's evolution. If you state to the universe, this relationship, this job, this house, this financial system that I'm in does not resonate. I thank you for the experience of it and I honor it for all that it brings me. It shows me all of my distortion within. It allows me to heal through the journey and is beautiful. I thank you, thank you, thank you. Then, when there is something that comes in that really resonates, you go like, oh my, oh my, oh my. This resonates. I love this. This is so good. Thank you so much. So you got this sort of like, from this empowered state, you state to your higher self, to the universe, however you want to see it to be, this doesn't resonate. This doesn't resonate, but I love it. Thank you,
mm.
thank you. This resonates. This resonates. And so what we're doing is that we're making a pact with the universe to say, I see, I see, I see. Enough is enough of the old. My soul is not evolving through the journey of it. Bring me my synchronicities to attract to me, to magnetize to me all that will bring me my bliss state, because the universe wants to bring you all that will evolve you.
Yeah, brilliant.
So we can state that, just have that little practice also. It's like, okay, I'm doing nothing at the moment, but I can see all that no longer serves me. See what doesn't resonate. Now this resonates. But
Mm,
through the journey of the experience of that this resonates, not the potentiality of I think that it would be really nice, because that's about you forward projecting. So if something's really good, like homemade soup, that resonates. Shop soup doesn't taste. I can taste the oof in it. So it's like that doesn't resonate, that does. So then you always will make your soup. So same thing.
yeah.
Everything's the same. Make it as simple as possible. Simple as possible.
Mm,
Breathe, move your body. What resonates? Focus on the light of it and go in that direction. Make it really simple.
absolutely beautiful. Well, ladies and gents, I'm sure you loved the content today, and if it resonates, um, where can people find you, Nicola, if they want to see more of your work?
So my website is nice and simple. It's nicolalight.com.
Hmm.
Nice and simple. My YouTube channel, which is where I focus a lot of my light upon, is Nicola Light. So nice and simple. Keep
Hmm.
it simple. I have a Facebook page, which is, guess what? Nicola Light.
Brilliant.
And also have an Instagram, which I haven't been focusing on, but I'm going to put a little bit more focus on that. And I've got online courses, I've got a Patreon group. So I would say have a little check out of my YouTube channel and then sort of see how I work. I work very similar to AJ in many ways, but very different in other ways as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's me.
Yeah, well, thank you as ever for joining us, and I know many of the watchers and listeners, really do resonate with everything that you say, and we always have a great conversation.
Mm.
Ladies and gents, I always ask if it does resonate, share this with at least one person because there's so many people out there that need help and need some guidance at the minute, and just a little nudge in the right
Yeah.
direction, especially if that beating drum is pounding upon their experience at the minute. But I know you've got a lot from today, and I thank you all for tuning in. And I will see you once again very soon on Mission Consciousness, the podcast. Thank you for tuning